Okay, if everyone can find their seats, we're going to get started. I know we're all excited to be here, but we have lots to do, so. Oh, it worked. We'll wait 1 minute for a few more people to sit. Okay. Okay, yay! I can officially say good morning to everyone. Thank you all for being here. I am Rachel London, the Executive Director of the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council and the Chair of the Developmental Disabilities Coalition. It's so good to see everyone in person again, right? It's been a long 3 years, but we made it. There are about 600 of you here today, and hopefully even more watching us on Facebook Live. We're here today because we know it takes all of us. It takes all of us to create change. It takes all of us to improve lives. We're coming together to show our strength, to learn, and to advocate. So, as in previous years, many of you know this, today's event is sponsored by the Developmental Disabilities Coalition. And I want to thank all of the leadership and the staff of all of our organizations for all they did to pull this together. It really takes all of us. And I am so glad to be working so closely with them and with all of you. So the beginning of today is going to move quickly, as many of our legislative champions want to say a few words, and we're excited to have them all here. And of course, our governor and lieutenant governor will be here. So before I turn it over to everyone else, remember, we are here today to work together to continue to ensure every Marylander with a developmental disability has the services and supports they need and want to live, learn, work, and play in the community. Really, what we're here to do is work together to create change, unlock opportunity, and improve lives. We want to encourage you to use the hashtags DDDay2023 on social media. So before I invite Laura Howe to introduce our first speaker, I want to acknowledge some other legislators that have joined us, and my apologies if I have missed any of you. But Delegate Chris Fair from District 3 in Frederick, Delegate Pam Grazzoni in District 13 in Howard County, and then a variety of others who you're going to hear from and a better introduction shortly. So I am going to turn it over to Laura, and we are ready to get started. Thanks, Laura.
Good morning, everybody. I do not feel the energy I think we should feel in this room. I think we need to make a little noise as we get started. Thank you. That is much better. I know we are out of practice. I know you all were cheering in your pajamas the last few years, virtually, but now we're back in person, so we need to make some noise. So I'm Laura Howe, the Executive Director of MACS, the Maryland Association of Community Services, and I'm so happy to see all of you in person. I have the pleasure of introducing a number of our legislative champions who are here today, and we are going to start with someone who is just a huge champion and friend to our community, Senator Guy Gazzoni. Senator Gazzoni represents District 13 in Howard County. He is the chairman of the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee, and that is a very important job down here in Annapolis. He is very busy, but never too busy to be a champion for people with developmental disabilities, community providers, direct support professionals, and families. And he has done so much to make a difference in all of our lives over the last many years, whether it was championing in 2014, tying rate increases to the minimum wage increase, which, by the way, was first in the nation. We were the first in the nation to do that, so it was pretty incredible. He then came back and worked to do it again in 2019. And he pays so much attention to the DDA budget and to the budget and policy issues that affect our community. He is passionate about our issues and how they affect the quality of life and the ability for people to have the supports that they need to live and work and thrive in their communities. He is a role model for other legislators, I hope it's okay if I say that, and a role model for all of us in terms of his citizenship in the world. So we are deeply grateful to have, and please give a warm welcome for Senator Guy Kazani.
Good morning. All right. Look, I tell you what, in this room, in this community, is the strongest lobby down here in Annapolis. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. You are powerful and know it. Know it. We can get things done together because we have gotten things done together over the years, and we're going to get more done. I am more hopeful than I've ever been. I thought I saw Secretary Beatty coming in when I was coming in earlier with the Secretary of the Department of Disabilities. Part of now the Moore administration. You're going to hear from the governor later. He's going to inspire you. He's inspired me. You want to talk about someone who's got their heart in the place that needs to be, and he's really smart too. You put those two things together, I am just really excited to be working with the new administration, and I hope you are all too, and I'm really excited to have you here again in person. I've missed you. I've missed you, and so have all the other legislators. I'm not kidding, really. You guys are a powerful lobby. Your message is strong and true and right. And, I've always been honored to be part of this organization. I think of myself as part of this organization. We got some things to do. One of the first things we've got to do is we still have to deal with the rate issues, right? We always have. Remember, I've come here before and said to y'all, budgeting, public life, democracy, it's every single year. We got to show up every time. Because when things matter, when it matters, when people's lives are involved, you have to show up every single year. And you do. You even did when it was virtual. But we got to show up because it's a complicated process, right? It's my job to sort of sort through that. But we need to hear from you. The legislators need to hear from you. We're going to deal with the rate issue. Already the governor has done something really good. He recognized when he wanted to increase the minimum wage that he knew that he had to put additional money aside for rate increases. And he did it. Yes. I'm excited to see that early level. I mean, look at this guy just walked in the door, and he's already helping to figure it out. So we've also got, and I'm going to let my colleague, my good friend, Senator Zucker, talk a little bit more about this, but we've been working on ending the wait. Ending wait. We put some money aside last year. Last night at 10 o'clock at night, we were sitting in the office together, and we were talking about what we have to do for next year, or this year, and one of those things was, we got to add more money to the fund that we created last year to end the wait, and we're going to do it. Like I said, I've never been more proud of anything that I've done down here than working with the DD community, working with Laura, the whole team, all the organizations. This is a true citizen community movement that makes a difference in lives. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Again, I'm just grateful to be part of your effort. Have a great day, change a lot of minds, do a lot of good, and have a lot of fun. I'll talk to you later.
I would thank you, Senator. That was a great way to kick off the morning. I would like to acknowledge, I saw Senator Mary Beth Carrozza come in from District 38 on the Eastern Shore. Thank you for being here. Please welcome Senator Carrozza. Oh, that's great. She just shared that she's on the board of the Special Olympics Maryland, so that's wonderful. So thank you. Okay, so we're moving along. Our next speaker, Senator Craig Zucker from District 14 in Montgomery County, is another huge champion for our community. Senator Zucker serves on the Budget and Taxation Committee, as Chairman Gazzoni just said, and he chairs the Capital Budget Subcommittee. So for everybody that wants capital bond money, don't tackle him. He's very nice. Just talk to him. Senator Zucker has been part of many pieces of legislation to help our community, including, as Senator Gazzoni said, last year serving as the lead sponsor of the End the Wait Act, a bill that reduces waiting lists for several waivers, including the DDA waivers and the autism waiver. Senator Zucker is a longtime friend of the DD community, and he is always there for us. So please welcome Senator Craig Zucker.
Well, thank you very much, Laura. Everything that you said about Chair Gazzoni is true, and also everything that Chair Gazzoni said about all of you is true. You all are making a huge difference in Annapolis, and your voice is definitely being heard. Laura also mentioned that I was chair of the Capital Budget Subcommittee, and don't tackle me. I would just say that, I joined my colleague, Senator Gazzoni and Crow Resnick, and the vice chair of the Capital Budget Subcommittee, Quinn McCrae, and we're doing everything we can to block and tackle for you in Annapolis and making sure. Well, look, we still have a lot of work to do. There are still people waiting for services, and it is time that we continue to end the wait. I've been seeing listservs of community listening sessions across the state, and continue to participate in that and let your voices be heard. We are also expanding the Achieving Better Life Experience accounts to create more accessibility with people who want to save for their future without cutting against their benefits. But thank you. Look, it's good to be back here in person, but just know that your presence and your voice has never left the halls of Annapolis. So go out today, let people know how important your services are or wages are, but most importantly, know that we're following your lead in Annapolis, and we can't thank you enough for the lives that you've changed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Zucker. So the Parade of Champions continues. I would like to next introduce Delegate Kirill Resnick from District 39 in Montgomery County. Where's Montgomery County? My goodness. There you go. He, again, has been a longtime champion and ally of people with developmental disabilities and community providers. He serves as the chair of the Appropriations, now we're in the House of Delegates side, of the Health and Social Services Subcommittee, and he has a really important role. And to us, most importantly, he leads the process to review and make recommendations about the DDA budget. Every year, including this afternoon when we will be in his subcommittee for the DDA budget hearing. As advocates, we always hope for the kind of relationship we have with Delegate Resnick. He always makes time for us. He always has an open door, and he tells it to us straight, which we really appreciate. And we would not have had the budget victories we've had without the champions you've heard from and Delegate Resnick. So please give a warm welcome to Bill Resnick.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So good to be with you this morning. Thank you for being back in Annapolis. I know the Graduate Hotel missed you all, but we did as well. And I know that my calendar today is full. It's full with meetings with all of you, and it's a day that we look forward to. My calendar is also full because we do have the DDA budget today in subcommittee, and so I welcome everyone to come and watch that, participate in that. You know, we get lobbied a lot by a lot of different interests, but it's always easy when Laura comes into my office, or when Andy comes into my office, or when any of the advocates from your community come into my office. Because for me, the answer is always yes. Because this is why we have the job that we have. This is why we ran for office, to be able to help our community and to be able to help those in our community that need it the most. So yes always comes with an asterisk because it always depends on how much money we have for the budget that year. But it is always an enthusiastic yes to do everything we can. I know we're told that we're supposed to be looking forward and not looking back, but as Senator Gazzoni said, I am more hopeful right now for the future of Maryland than I have been in a very long time. And I will tell you, yesterday we had a bill hearing in appropriations, and we had one of the governor's priority bills in that bill hearing, and the governor showed up. And that is not something I have seen in almost a decade. And that will tell you something about Governor Moore. He is showing up. He's going to be there with his team, and he is going to be there with us to look out for all of you, to look out for everybody in the state that needs a helping hand, and to make sure that the budget is the document that reflects the values of the people of our state. And that's what we're here to support, and that's what we're here going to go do. So I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank you for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you all in person throughout the day and in the subcommittee. And I want you to focus 100% today on getting your message out, talking to legislators, and building and growing the voices of your community. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Delegate Resnick. All right, Montgomery County, get your voices ready again, because I want to introduce our next speaker, Senator Brian Feldman from District 15 in Montgomery County. He is a longtime friend and champion of the disabilities community. First, as a longtime member of the Finance Committee, which I have to tell you, some committees play a bigger role in our budget and policy issues than others, and the Finance Committee is a very important committee to us. And so we lost Senator Feldman from the Finance Committee, but he moved on to become the chairman of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. So clearly a very important role for all the education issues that we face. So among Senator Feldman's many contributions to the DD community was serving as the lead Senate sponsor on the bill to create ABLE accounts in Maryland. He has always been someone we could rely on. He is another one who has always had an open door for us, no matter how busy he has been, and we are very grateful for his leadership. So please welcome Senator Brian Feldman.
Laura knows how to turn out a crowd. I mean, this is fantastic. Well, let me just pick up on what Carol Resnick just said. We actually have the governor coming into my committee today, and I see Mary Beth Carrozza here from the committee. I'll give her a shout out, but on one of his priority bills. And so, yes, it's a new era, it's a new time. I think we have a partner on the second floor. I'll give a shout out, before she was Wes Moore's running teammate, Aruna Miller, Lieutenant Governor, was my teammate, teaming up for 8 years in my district, so I want to give Aruna, I think she will also be very helpful on your issues. I do want to pick up, when I think of, and it's great that Senator Zucker and Gazzoni here in particular, because I would say of all the bills I may have passed over the years, the ABLE Act, I may be, arguably, maybe most proud of. I see Heather right there, I'm going to give her a shout out, was one of the lead advocates who came down here and worked that bill, and I think it's really, a lot of folks have told me, that's made a huge impact in their lives. In fact, today in the committee, Senator Zucker is bringing in a bill to make some technical corrections on how the ABLE Act will work, so it's topical and it's timely. But a lot of these issues are also, kind of budget oriented. My time on the Finance Committee, and Corey McRae's, you're going to hear from him here, from B&T as well. We had these debates about minimum wage, which are still out here. And every time we had a debate about minimum wage, the question would be, well, how are we going to compensate if we're going to raise the minimum wage for the providers, for nonprofits, those who are relying on state funds? How are we going to deal with them? How are they going to be? And in every case, it was Chair Gazzoni, it was Zucker, Carol Resnick, and Corey were on the committees that said, look, if we're going to raise the minimum wage, we're going to have to have a corresponding adjustment in our state budget that flows through the folks who are going to be providing. So I feel like I've been in the middle of the action. Now the issue of education, which is relatively new for me, to be honest with you, but there are some education bills in the committee that tie directly to the interests of everybody in this room, and so I look forward to working with Laura. I see Rachel, I see, the whole team here. You had a great team. We have a great team, and now again, we have a partner on the second floor, so this should be a 4-year period, I think, for all the issues important to this group. So thank you for the invite, and I'm going to, I guess, pass the torch so you can get Senator McRae up here. And he's not from Montgomery County, by the way.
Thank you, Senator Feldman. So, all right, Baltimore City, where are you? Oh my, you're going to need a lot more noise for this next speaker. Senator Corey McRae, we are thrilled to welcome you from District 45 in Baltimore City. Senator McRae is a newly appointed chair of the Budget and Tax Committee's Health and Human Services Subcommittee, and in that role, like Delegate Resnick, he leads the effort on the Senate side to review and make recommendations regarding the DDA budget. And we know that President Ferguson couldn't have picked a better chair than Senator McRae. He has a record of caring really deeply about Marylanders who face inequities in their everyday lives. He chairs the Baltimore City Senate delegation. He is a passionate advocate for his district. If you go visit him, he will ask you questions about his district if you know anything about it, so be prepared. We look so forward to working with Senator McRae as he delves into all of our issues. So please give a very warm welcome to Senator Corey McRae.
Good morning. Good morning. First, let me be clear. I just thankful to be able to share this moment with you here today. And I'll tell you all that I'm actually the new kid on the block, Mary Beth. So when I think about that, I look at the shoes that I stand in at this moment. The folks that used to chair this committee, I think about my chairman, Chairman Gazzone. I look at the work that our capital chair, but past chair of HHS, Craig Zucker, has done. I think about Carol Resnick and the work, and one of the first calls that I made and said, hey, we need to sit down, we need to get together. But also walking in the door with Chairman Feldman, and as he talked about the thing that he was most proud of was the ABLE Act. And he talked about all the time that he had been here in reference to just being able to impact so many lives from that standpoint. But as the new kid on the block, many of the people know, as Laura has stated, I'm a lover of Baltimore, I'm a lover of our state of Maryland, and I'm a father of 4. So I think about education, and what does that look like for not just some people, but all people. I think about what does recreation look like for not just some people, but all people. I think about what does the services that are necessary look like for some people, but all people. And I think about that when we talk about HHS, the Health and Human Services Subcommittee. So I look forward to continuing to engage. I look forward to working with you all. And as Laura stated, please, please, please stop past the office, because I'm a student of history, but also I love to educate myself and make sure that I'm moving in the right direction and clearly understand what the path forward is. So I say thank you for your advocacy. I say thank you for the work that you all do each and every day, but I look forward to not just standing here today, but standing alongside you in the future each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McCray. Somebody finally got some energy going. I mean, no offense to everybody, y'all did a great job, but that was great. I'm just looking around to see kind of where we are with our next speaker. And, oh, there we go. Delegate, you here to introduce Delegate Kaufman? Yeah. Okay, all right, come on up.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Dee Sapp, and I'm your chair for the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council. I'm here to introduce Delegate Kaufman. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Delegate Aaron Kaufman from District 18. Many of you know him. He worked for the ARC Maryland, was on the board of Disability Rights Maryland, and among too many other things to list, spent 10 years on the Developmental Disabilities Council, most recently as vice chair. Perhaps most importantly, he is the first person with a developmental disability to serve the state of Maryland and his constituents as a delegate. Delegate Kaufman, welcome home. You are a true champion, and we are so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for that generous introduction, and I spent 10 happy years in the DD Council, and our state is blessed to have Rachel London as its executive director. She moved through the ranks. She was the director of Children and Family Policy, and then deputy director. And I've known Laura a long time. In fact, I've known her since her hair was brown. But it's okay. We're friends. She knows I love her. So I want to just say that I must have forgotten Laura's birthday, though, because I had to follow the amazing Corey McCray. And, you know, his only flaw is that he's not from Montgomery County, but he's a great guy. And he may be new to the role, but I know what's in Corey's heart. And we could not have asked for a better HHS chair because he's just an awesome guy. And I think his kids win the award for being the most adorable. I get his holiday cards every year. And, oh, those kids are adorable. But what I wanted to talk about is, friends, I am here because of you and getting to interact with my wonderful former colleague, Tracy Wright, over there, and Matt Rice, and this is coming back home. And so I just want to say that I know there's still so much work to do. And I know that advocacy can be fatiguing, and the ignorance of some people can be so draining. And sometimes you may just want to throw up your hands. I know I do as a person with a disability, like when I was supposed to go to an event recently, but the person that was hosting the dinner picked a venue that was not accessible. So I know it can be fatiguing, but we must not tire. As they say, our feet can get tired, but our soul must be inspired, friends. And so, but I'm excited to be the first, because hopefully I won't be the last, but because of the fact that there's so much work to do, my friends, there's such an uneven playing field within special education. And that is why I'm very proud to be the lead sponsor of legislation that says that if in rare instances the parents beat a school system in litigation, then a judge is authorized to award attorney's fees and expert witness fees. And that's just because the playing field is so stacked against families in that situation. So I'm trying to even the playing field slightly. We know we have a tremendous and hopefully it'll make it over to my dear friend Senator Feldman's committee. But I also just want to talk about how I know that the waiting list, despite the Herculean efforts of Craig, which made huge progress, it is still too long, and that our providers are still competing with Target and fast food places for workers, because you can make the same amount of money for an easier job, and far too many employees with disabilities are not employed. And when they are, it's because people assume that they can do one of the 4 F's: food, flowers, filth, and filing. And so we need to have high expectations for people with disabilities. And my friends, in closing, I will be with you until the last dog dies, because I cover a lot of different issues, but this issue is paramount in my heart. And my brother, who had more severe cerebral palsy, just recently passed away from complications of it. But I will, on behalf of you and on behalf of everyone else with developmental disabilities, I will dedicate the rest of my life to this incredible work, because the DSPs in this audience, you do God's work every day. And I think for the first time in this audience, for the first time in 8 years, we have a governor that understands the needs of people with disabilities, and you're going to hear from him and my dear friend Aruna Miller later, because he understands that people with disabilities can achieve at high levels, but they need the tools to flourish. And Wes understands that, and go get him. We're going to keep fighting and fighting until we get what we need. And go out there, go get him, share your stories. As Louis Goldstein said, God bless you all real good. Was that good? Okay.
Yep. Yep. All right. So the moment you've all been waiting for is here and approaching very shortly. But I want to recognize a variety of more people that have joined us. First, want to recognize Senator Jeff Waldstreicher. Thank you very much for being here. It's from District 18 from Montgomery County. We have been laughing at the Montgomery County representation. So another one from Montgomery County. And also Delegate Michelle Guyton from District 42B in Baltimore County. Thank you for being here. I also want to acknowledge, make sure I didn't miss anyone else. Other people who have joined us today, somebody already mentioned Secretary Carol Beatty from the Department of Disabilities, Secretary Laura Herrera-Scott from the Department of Health, Bernie Simons, the Deputy Secretary for the Developmental Disabilities Administration, variety of his staff, and I apologize now if I miss anyone. Nick Burton, Director of Programs. Rhonda Workman, Director of Federal Programs and Integrity. Robert White, Director of Fiscal Operations. Also with us is Dr. Deanne Collins, the Deputy State Superintendent for Teaching and Learning. Dr. Sylvia Lawson, the Deputy State Superintendent for Organizational Effectiveness. Scott Dennis, the Assistant State Superintendent of the Division of Rehabilitation Services. Thank you all for being here, and we will hear from a variety of them a little bit later. I am going to give them a moment to walk in.
Okay, yeah.
Because I have the distinct honor of introducing the Lieutenant Governor as they make their way in.
Can hear the chair.
Yep. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our Lieutenant Governor. So, thank you both for being here. So, Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller has been a longtime friend of and champion for people with disabilities. From 2010 to 2018, she represented District 15 in the Maryland House of Delegates. That was after spending 25 years working at the local Department of Transportation in Montgomery County. With a clear commitment to public service, creating change, and unlocking opportunities, Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller chaired an incredibly comprehensive and inclusive statewide transition process to make sure the Moore Miller administration hit the ground running on day one, and that they did. During one of the Unlocking Opportunity Transition Committee public forums, and I'm going to quote her here, She said, "We're going to make Maryland a more equitable, gentler, and kinder state." Thank you. Lieutenant Governor, on behalf of the entire developmental disabilities community, thank you. Thank you for those words. Thank you for making us a priority. And thank you to the Moore Miller administration for leading the way so no one is left behind. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful crowd I'm looking into here. So much warmth, so much compassion, so much leadership. And this is exactly how we're going to work towards a greater, better, gentler, more compassionate Maryland, right? That's exactly what we're going to do. So thank you. Thank you for your leadership. And to Rachel London, thank you. Can we give her a round of applause for her great leadership? And I want to thank the entire Maryland Disabilities Council, Developmental Disability Councils, for all the leadership that you provide, for your leadership, for your compassion, for your ability to empower others to be the best of themselves. I can tell you in my own personal life, I've been touched by the situation of being able to empower others so many times over and over. My brother-in-law, which is my husband's brother, has been intellectually and developmentally disabled his entire life. And I remember during the time that my in-laws would often share the stories and the struggles that they face when raising him in the 1960s and 70s, there wasn't a lot of sources out there for them or organization that let them to be able to allow their son to be empowered. And so they faced a lot of struggles. And I often wonder how different his life would have been and how different their life would have been had there been organizations such as yours to be able to help him, to be able to help them, to be able to empower him to be the best that he could be. So this is very near and dear to me, that the work that you do. And I know that as we look forward, we're going to continue to work together to make sure that individuals don't have to go through the same challenges that 20, 30, 40 years ago people did. It's going to take legislators, it's going to take advocates like you, it's going to take individuals that are developmentally disabled to be able to tell us what we can do together to empower them, to allow them to be the best that they can be. And that's what the Moore Miller administration is looking forward to doing, to working with every one of you to make sure that we can do this. And so again, I thank you for everything you're doing. I know that most recently during Service Day on Martin Luther King Day, we were out in Prince George's County at the ARC administration, right, the organization. And what a great organization it is. It was so exciting because they taught Aruna Miller a thing or two when I went there about dancing and drum beating. Okay, if you ever seen me dance, I have 2 left feet. I'm horrible, and I am totally tone deaf. So they taught me a lot of things when I visited that day in Prince George's County at ARC. So again, I want to thank all of you for your leadership. Thank you for the way that you lead. Thank you for the way you empower others. And we're with you, we're behind you, we're beside you in every way we can be. Thank you.
Hello. everybody. My name is Matt Rice. I am the Executive Director of People on the Go Maryland, and today I'm extremely excited to introduce Governor Wes Moore. Governor Moore is a combat veteran, a best-selling author, and a former CEO. And now, as the new leader of our state, he has affirmed his commitment to the developmental disability community through his philosophy of leaving no one behind. Governor Moore, on behalf of People on the Go Maryland and the DD Coalition, we look forward to working with you to making Maryland a state where all Marylanders with and without disabilities can live, work, love, and play together. Thank you very much.
Wow. Good morning. Good morning. I am actually can I show you that one?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm just gonna speak from the heart a little bit.
There you go.
Thank you so much. First, good morning, everybody. And Matt, God bless you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for, with every day, making us better. And I have to tell you, Matt is someone who I now have known for a while. And I consider Matt not only a leader, but a friend. Because Matt was willing to give a campaign and give a couple candidates the platform and the opportunity to listen and to learn and to share. When Matt decided to do that, we weren't doing too well in the polls. When Matt decided to do that, I think we were polling at around 1%. Nobody could have said that where we are now was where we were headed back then. And Matt, you saw us. You believed. You thought that we deserved a place in the conversation. And I'm never going to forget that. Because I want to tell you right now, for both myself and our remarkable Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller, you saw us, but we want to be very clear. We see you, and we are so excited to be your partner, and so grateful. Rachel, bless you and thank you. And thank you for just the leadership, for having us here for this remarkable coalition. Because that's what this is. This is a coalition. And we know the only way that things actually happen is when we do it together, when we build coalitions that last and we build coalitions that mean something. And I can tell you right now, with the way our administration is going to move, it goes back to the old and the stated and the very true adage of nothing about us without us. And when we say that we are going to lift up this community, when we say that we are going to work in partnership, when we say the Developmental Disabilities Coalition and this community is going to have a permanent and an important seat at our table, we mean that. And I think we show that we mean that also when you look at who both the Lieutenant Governor and I have asked to be our leader in this space, the remarkable Secretary Carol Beatty. Madam Secretary, you know, I tell you, I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret. Whenever we go through meetings with prospective cabinet secretaries and that type of thing, there are, you know, you go and you do the interview and you exchange questions, And then at the end of it, you say to them, you say, well, thank you so much for this time. We'd love to continue the conversation, so on and so forth. That didn't happen with the secretary, because she didn't make it that far out of the door. Because after sitting down with her, hearing her clarity, hearing her vision, seeing what she has already done with the community and what we are excited to do in the future together, I didn't let her leave that room without letting her know, you're the person that we want in this seat. And we are excited about the fact that everything that you see within the administration so far, and we're only like 3.5 weeks in, everybody. We're just getting started together. But I can tell you right now that the work that you all have done and the work that this coalition is doing and what you're advocating for, your fingerprints, your ideas, and your thoughts, they're all over everything that we are doing. We are going to lift together. And we're going to build a state that leaves no one behind. So when you look at all the bills and all the ideas and things that we've been pushing for thus far, and I'm thankful for the fact that we have not just people who have advocated and testified, but a remarkable set of lawmakers. And can we just give a round of applause to all of our delegates and local elected officials who are here as well, who are champions in this work. But when you see that the first things that we're pushing for are things like making sure that we can increase the minimum wage and get to a $15 minimum wage and make sure we're indexing it to inflation, to ensure that we have, and also ensure that we're making sure we're fully funding all of the providers in this process as well. Because we should never have a situation where we have individuals who are working, and especially if you look at the bill, the carve-outs for people with disabilities, that we never should have people who are working, in some cases working multiple jobs, and still living at or below a poverty line. That when you look at the bills we've laid out, it includes things like when we said that we believe in the blueprint and we believe in making sure that we have a world-class public school education system in this state, and that includes making sure that all children, even those with developmental disabilities, that we are providing the resources and the supports that all children can have a pathway for their long-term success. And that you see it wasn't just about words. Not only is the budget that we presented the largest investment in public school education that a governor has ever made in the state of Maryland, it also includes a $500 million investment going towards the blueprint and making sure that individuals and students with developmental disabilities are supported and seen in that bill as well. It's making sure and fighting and advocating for bills that do things like ensuring that there's going to be closed captioning in movie theaters. And putting $616 million in support for providers and making sure that we are lifting up providers that are supporting individuals with developmental disabilities. Matt, if we said it, we meant it. And we believe that the only way for our community to excel is if all members of our community are seen and heard.
Of that, I have no doubt, Governor, and you have a standing invitation at all POG functions, sir.
Matt, careful what you say. We're going to take you up on that. But we want to be clear about, we are fighting for all Marylanders, right? We're fighting for Christopher, who has been doing bagging since 2006, and who also, by the way, does karate and track and field and golf, and on all of his free time is an advocate for the developmental disability community. That we're fighting for people like Erica Wheeler, and individuals who every single day are fighting on behalf of our community to make sure that all of our communities are seen and heard, and who, by the way, just finished beating breast cancer as well. This is a community of fighters. This is a community of advocates. This is a community of survivors. And I can tell you right now, in our administration, you don't just have supporters, you have fans. And we are so excited to work with you for years and years to come to build a state where we leave no one behind. So bless you, thank you for all you do, and we are so excited to be your partners inside this work. God bless you all, and thank you. Thank you.
While Governor Moore is making his way out and Lieutenant Governor Miller, can you make some noise if you feel seen today by our governor and Lieutenant Governor? I feel like we just experienced history in the making, and it is so exciting. So we are so grateful. I know there's going to be a long line to speak with the governor, but we are going to move forward and introduce our next speaker. I know no one ever wants to speak after Governor Moore, but I want to introduce Delegate Michelle Guyton from District 42B in Baltimore County. And just like the governor and lieutenant governor, she has a passion for our issues that is truly extraordinary. In addition to serving on the Environment and Transportation Committee, she's a member of the Maryland Commission on Disabilities. She's a developmental psychologist, and Delegate Guyton is well-versed in the issues of our community, and she really is a fighter, always looking for ways, opportunities to improve the lives that people with developmental disabilities and direct support professionals, children and families all experience, and we are so grateful for her leadership in the General Assembly. Please welcome Delegate Michelle Guyton.
I am either the luckiest or the unluckiest speaker today, and I cannot decide which right now. I know I want to go over and get a picture with the governor and the lieutenant governor, so I do not blame you if you all rush over there. But I'll try to make it quick. So I am Delegate Michelle Guyton, and I love being here, so that makes me the luckiest. And I love all of you. So I want to tell you that I came in, I saw the governor sitting outside. It's my fault for being a little bit late, and I said, please, Governor, don't make me speak after you. Please. But then I walked in the door, and my colleague, Delegate Aaron Kaufman, was sitting here speaking, and I thought, well, things just got worse for me today. So and I cannot tell you how much we love and appreciate, and I don't know if he's still here, the fact that we have Delegate Kaufman in the House of Delegates. He is a major force, and it is something that we should have had working alongside us all along, somebody who actually lives and breathes the experiences that you do every day. So, I know, and I wish he were still here. I will tell him later today. What an amazing partner and inspiration to all of us here. But I do not have a developmental disability, but I have sons who are incredibly creatively and fabulously neurodiverse on the autism spectrum and dealing with Tourette syndrome. So while I can't appreciate it the same way that Aaron can, I certainly appreciate those of you who are out there and are parents. And I'm sure there are a lot of you out here who are parents. If you are, raise your hand, all right? You are the fighters. Well, we're all the fighters here, but you are the fighters. You are the ones that are taking time out to do something that's really, really hard, and that's support your family members. So I am here for you. I want to just remind you that we have been able to do some amazingly fabulous work together over the past 5 years while I've been here. And when I say together, I really mean together, right? Without your help and those in this group, we couldn't have passed legislation to help serve people with autism. We would not be able to improve the Division of Rehabilitation Services. We would not have made IEP systems fairer for students and for families. And we wouldn't be identifying kids with developmental disabilities earlier and earlier. You made that happen because I don't have those kind of superpowers. You do. So today I'm here to talk about some bills that are on your list that you'll be talking to some of my colleagues about today. And I want to make sure that you not only, it is so hard to speak over the governor. I love it though. I never thought I would have this problem in my life, so it's good, it's good. So these things take real effort, and sometimes they can be a little bit scary, but I know that you're all up to the task because you do it every year. So I know I can always count on you to support these bills, and I hope, and I believe you do know that you can always count on me as well. So this year I'm sponsoring a few bills. They're on your list, and I want you to understand, and I want you to ask questions of me if you do not. So the first one we're talking about is House Bill 381. So there are a couple of versions of this bill, a lot of versions of this bill in the House of Delegates and the Senate this year. What this bill does is simply shift the burden of proof in due process hearings from you all, from the family, to the school system. All right, I know, right? So there is a statewide bill for that, and then we also have covered a lot of the counties with this legislation as well, just in case that one doesn't pass. So the bill that I am sponsoring, along with Delegate Attar from Baltimore City, covers Baltimore City, and it covers Baltimore County. But there are bills for other counties and as well. I mean, you know how stressful it is to be a family going through fighting every day for your child. It makes it even harder when you are the one that has to fight with the school system, the people who are supposed to be your partners in this. So it rarely comes to the point where complaints in the school system have to go before an administrative law judge. Only a handful of times a year does this happen. But when it does, it's up to the family to prove that the students are not being served, instead of up to the schools to prove that they are providing a free and appropriate public education. It's as simple as that. So we are very hopeful that this bill, if it doesn't pass at the statewide level, will at least pass on the different county delegations that we have in moving this year. So the second bill that I want to present to you is House Bill 469. This is a really cool bill that fixes a tiny loophole, but if you fall in this loophole and you have the wrong birthday in the state of Maryland, you lose a year of eligibility for special education services in relation to your classmates, right? And this one was brought from a constituent who is at an 11-month special education school. And what they found out is they were allowed to start school at 5 because their birthday fell into the right time period for starting school. But when they got to 21, and you all know what happens when you turn 21, right? They actually had a birthday before the first day of school. And what does that mean? It means they lose that year. So all of their classmates got to go 16 years of school and have that extra year of school when they were 21, and a certain very small group of people do not get that experience and do not have that right. We really are going to fix this year. It's ridiculous that it's gone on this long. So, yeah, it's an important one because not only does it affect any of you who might be 19 and 20 now, but it also affects students in the 11-month special education schools, and it also affects students from the 6 counties now and ongoing that start school after Labor Day. So if you are in or know people, which I'm sure you do, in one of those 6 counties, this is going to be an ongoing problem for them. If their birthday falls within a 5-day range between September 1st and September 6th, they will lose that extra year of education, right? Except they won't, because we'll fix that this year. So, and then I have a couple of bills also. I won't go into the same detail, but last year, with your help, we were able to put a work group in place to evaluate the effectiveness and the efficiency of the Division of Rehabilitation Services. We all know it as DOORS, right? Yeah, thank you, I know, right? A lot of people are served incredibly well, and I know we have the assistant superintendent here. By DOORS services, if you are served, you're served well, but most people have to wait years and years and years for service, and that's not okay. So the 3 things that we're putting in place this year through legislation, hopefully, come from the preliminary report of that work group. And thank you for those of you who have been a part of that. Very simple things. One is to make sure that they increase communication and transparency by putting on their website the number of open cases and the number of cases that are closed. We're asking that they also disaggregate that by county and by disability severity and by disability code, so we can really dig into who is it that's receiving these services and who is being left out in the cold. We're also asking for a memorandum of understanding, a relationship between DOORS and between the Department of Health, so that the information needed to simplify the process for moving from school services to adult services is going to be a lot easier, right? It is incredibly complicated, and we lose a lot of people in that process. And then finally, we are asking for increased funding for DOORS this year. We're asking only for 1.2% increase. The reason is that the state is leaving a lot of money on the table by not actually fulfilling our requirements to fund the appropriate amount. So by funding that 1.2%, we're actually going to be eligible for a lot more of federal money as well. So that's not something we want to miss out. I have many more bills, but you have work to do today. I look forward to seeing you all in my office. And even though obviously we're on the same page, I love it when you visit, so please do that. Don't overlook me today. And I know you're all going to do a great job. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And if we were on Zoom and you could see the chat, people were texting me, go, tell Delegate Guyton she's doing a great job. so thank you. Bye. All right. Hi, I'm Andy Culp, and I'm the Executive Director of the ARC Maryland. Yay, ARC. And I have the distinct pleasure of honoring Secretary Carol Beatty and introducing her to you, although she needs no introduction. She was appointed to her position as Secretary of the Department of Disabilities back when Governor Hogan was in office in 2015. She was recently reappointed, either the only reappointment or one of just a couple people that were asked to come back and be Secretary of Disabilities with the Moore administration. She has over 35 years of experience as an executive in disability advocacy, having worked for the ARC Howard County in the past as a longtime executive director of that organization, and also Bella McCree and ALI. She earned her BA from Towson University and her Master's of Science in Special Education from the Johns Hopkins University. And Secretary Beatty has a physical disability as a result of having polio as an infant, so she has some lived experience that she brings to her position, and we're so grateful to have her with us this morning. So welcome, Secretary Beatty.
you. Thanks so much. Thanks, Andy, for that great introduction. And I want to also thank all the members of the DD Coalition for the great work that they do year-round in partnership with the Department of Disabilities and with the Department of Health, but also this fantastic morning that is never easy to do. It looks like maybe it could be easy to do, but it is hours and hours and hours of work. So thank you for all of the members of the DD Coalition on that. And I'm really glad that you had a chance to hear from our wonderful new governor, Governor Moore, and our new Lieutenant Governor Miller, and many of our state leaders today. I think that it should indicate to you that this is a community that is a priority for this new administration. And so congratulations and continue your hard work. And you'll have partners not only in state legislature, but also on the second floor and across the state. I am really deeply grateful to Governor Moore for having given me this opportunity to continue to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Disabilities. And the story he told was absolutely true. I was shocked. I didn't even know what to say. I expected to be asked to come back for another interview or another time to talk with them, and he offered me the job on the spot, and I was, yes, I'm ever so grateful to him. It truly is an honor. It's been the honor of my career and my lifetime to work with all of you to help improve services and supports and life for people with disabilities in Maryland. I lead a dedicated and passionate team at the Department of Disabilities who have deep subject matter expertise in their specific fields. They also have a love of service and have dedicated their careers to increasing opportunities for people with disabilities in Maryland. And my staff are really energized by Governor Moore's direction to state government leadership and to employees of the state to be responsive, move urgently, you heard him talk about that, and to be innovative and courageous. His call to create a more equitable Maryland resonates with this group, I know. Too many people with intellectual and developmental disabilities live in poverty. And we know that the key to lifting up this community, as all of our communities, is access to education, workforce preparation, job and career opportunities. Young people with intellectual and developmental disabilities need the tools to succeed in the workplace, and they get those just like everybody else does through solid classroom instruction, internships, apprenticeships, and access to post-secondary education and lifelong learning opportunities. We're so excited at the department that the first class of students in the University of Maryland's TERP Exceed program will graduate this May. We're a little sad that it's gone so quickly, but it's been so successful that we know that expanding opportunities like this one across the state is really critical. Working with our partners in the Department of Labor, with the Department of Health through the DDA, our partners at MSDE and DOORS, and we are in the process of hiring the first Project Search statewide coordinator that will be located within our department and will work closely with the existing Project Search sites to improve employment outcomes and to facilitate new sites as are needed across the state. We at the department, I think we're known for creating strong partnerships. And one of the groups that I hold very dear in terms of partnership is our exceptional direct support professional workforce. And if you are a DSP, can you please raise your hand so that we can acknowledge your service? I want to thank you for your service and for the incredibly important partnership that you provide for making sure that people with disabilities can achieve their fullest potential. Another terrific collaboration that we have is with the ARC Maryland, the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council, and our sister agency, the Maryland State Department of Education, on the Together We're Better program throughout the school year. Today, we are recognizing the winners from the art contest for the elementary and middle school age, as well as the high school coloring book submission contest. So I'm very honored to help with that and to recognize this very talented group of students. So Andy, I'm going to turn this back over to you for the awards. And thank you again for allowing me to be here for a few minutes to address this wonderful crowd and to wish them a great day of advocacy in Annapolis.
Hi again, everyone. Luke, do you have the clicker? Okay. I'm not sure what it's called technically. Clicker works. Thank you. All right. Well, now we're, as Secretary Beatty said, we're going to be honoring the students whose artwork we chose to receive first, second, third places. Their schools get a check, so cash. The students get gift cards who are being honored, and their artwork goes all over the state of Maryland. So the artwork contest, there's an elementary and middle school art contest, and then there's a high school coloring book drawing contest. So hopefully you were able to see some of the artwork that we had on display around the perimeter of that room and in the registration room. But we're just thrilled to have this partnership with the Maryland State Department of Education, the DD Council, who we also get funding from both of those organizations for this initiative, and I'm missing another partner, MSDE, us. Okay, I'm so sorry. Is Dr. Sylvia Lawson here? And Dr. Collins? Yes. Great. I'll ask you to join me up here on stage as we honor these students. So is Addie here? So our first student we want to honor is Addie Chang. Addie, are you here? All right, come on up. Thank you. And Addie's a fifth grader and has homeschooled in Montgomery County. Yep. And so we'll get a picture with you and Dr. Collins and Secretary Beatty up on stage here with your award. Do you want to turn it around? And you can see Addie's wonderful artwork up on the screens there. Congratulations, Addie. Okay, now you can go find your seat now. I think we've got your pictures. Okay. And next I want to recognize the third place honoree, who isn't here this morning, but Nicholas Faulkner from Mary H. Matula Elementary in Washington County. Next is second place honoree, Noah Lyubinski in third grade. Noah here? Oh, wonderful. And Noah's from Garrett Park Elementary School in Montgomery County. Oh, you want to hold the big check?
You want to hold both?
Don't spend it all in one place.
Here you go. There.
There you go.
Oh, that's great.
Nice job.
Congratulations. You got it? Oh my goodness. Got a handful there.
Thank you. And I just wanted to point out that a lot of these students have their educators and even some of their principals with them today. So please give them a round of applause for making this a priority. Thank you. And our first place honoree is Maggie H. She's a 4th grader at Cascade Elementary School in Washington County. And here she is. And her school gets $500 for Maddie's artwork.
Big check, too.
Do you want to hold the big check?
And here, this is for you, too.
That's your gift card, Maddie, so don't lose it. Okay. And I just wanted to say, some of the schools have used their money to do things like put communication boards on their playgrounds or build buddy benches, which are just fantastic, so we're really excited about that. All right, next I want to, the clicker's not working. Our honorable mention who could not be here for middle school is Kristen Roberts from Urbana Middle in Frederick County. Please give Kristen a round of applause. Okay, and also Hannah Louie, who got the 3rd place tie, could not be here, but is also from Urbana Middle and Frederick County. Quinn Reynolds is here, though. Hi, Quinn. Come on. There you go, Quinn. You're Hannah. Hannah is here. Yay. Quinn, you can come up. We'll do you next.
And then here's the big check. No, you don't
Oh.
have to do it. Get your picture.
There you go.
Here, let's,
And here, let me.
here, yeah, okay. And then here's, we'll put that down here.
You can't really cash that check, but there's an envelope with a real check in it. Assuming people know, but just in case. All right, and next we have Quinn Reynolds. Quinn is from North Bethesda Middle in Montgomery County. And this is her artwork.
Here, you want to put that down a little bit?
So you can see your,
See your name? Yep.
there you go. All right, congratulations. And next we have 2nd place honoree Joshi Chang from, is homeschooled in Montgomery County. Congratulations. It's Joshi.
All right, Joshie, and here is the check.
And Joshi won $200 for his school. His neighborhood school.
Thank you for all you're doing. Okay, got it.
There you go. And our first place honoree in middle school is Crystal McGeehan from Folly Quarter Middle School in Howard County. And for first place, Crystal won $500 for her school.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The clicker is not working. It's,
Okay.
there you go. So the other part of our art contest is a coloring book contest where students in high school can draw, make drawings depicting inclusion in their community. And then we publish the coloring book and make it available at libraries around the state. So congratulations to our high school honorees for the 2022-2023 school year. First honorable mention, Elsa Lavoie. I don't think Elsa's here. She's here. Okay. From Kent Island High School in Queen Anne's County.
And then our third place honorees, Aaron Bowen from Kent Island High School in Queen Anne's County. Thank you for making such a long trip here this morning.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Awesome, thank you. That's for you. In second place, we have Chelsea Beatty, no relation to Secretary Beatty. Also from Kent Island High School in Queen Anne's County, in case you're not noticing a trend, there was a lot of submissions from this high school, and they were absolutely amazing. So congratulations, Chelsea. And in first place, Zachary Gagliano from Kent Island High in Queen Anne's County. We're all heroes. And we have two educators here from Kent Island High School. Where are they, Sharon? Miss Schulte and Mr. Where are they? Oh, they're over here. Please give them a round of applause for being here to support their students. Thank you. Did you get your picture? Great. Congratulations. So thank you to all the students that were here, all your parents who came with you, and your educators and administrators for your support of this initiative, and to our statewide partners. Thank you for supporting that. Together we are all better. Matt, you're introducing Herrera.
Hello again. Is this one?
There you go.
Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. A little technical difficulties. Hello again. I have the honor of introducing the new Secretary of the Department of Health, Dr. Laura Herrera Scott. Secretary Herrera Scott comes back to the Department of Health with a new wealth of experience. She originally served in the Department of Health from 2011 to 2015 as the Deputy Secretary of Public Health Services. Most recently, Dr. Herrera Scott served as the Executive Vice President of Population Health at Summit Health. Dr. Herrera Scott is a U.S. Army Reserve veteran serving from 1998 to 2008. Dr. Herrera Scott also received a master's degree in public health from Johns Hopkins University and a doctorate of medicine from SUNY Health Science in Brooklyn, New York. So we know that the state of Maryland and the Department of Health is in good hands with the leadership of Dr. Laura Herrera Scott. And on behalf of POG and the DD Coalition, We look forward to working with you to improve the lives of all Marylanders. So please give a big Developmental Disabilities Day welcome to Dr. Laura Herrera Scott.
Good morning, and I'm excited to be here, and it's just absolutely wonderful to see such a full room. When we got here, there was standing room only, so we were on the side, but there was even standing room in the overflow room, and being 4 weeks into the job, this is the first time I've seen so many people in one place. And I want to thank the families, advocates, legislators, and others here to support Marylanders with developmental disabilities. And thank you, Matt, for that incredible introduction, especially following everyone else that I had to speak after, which includes the governor, the lieutenant governor, Secretary Beatty, and the wonderful art we just saw. As was already introduced, I'm Laura Herrera Scott. I'm honored to be here with all of you, and thank you, Rachel London and members of the coalition for inviting me. I also want to thank Bernard Simons, the Deputy Secretary of Developmental Disabilities Administration. I appreciate Bernie's leadership as DDA continues to collaborate with all of you to enhance the services and supports available to people with developmental disabilities. Additionally, I want to thank Secretary Beatty for her steadfast leadership for all people with disabilities in the state of Maryland. I look forward to your wisdom and our continued collaboration between our two departments. I will say in the 4 weeks we've been here, we've already partnered, had two meetings just to make sure I understood the work that they do and the work that we do and where are the opportunities to align. I am committed to DDA's mission to create a flexible, family-oriented system that encourages people to live their full lives. For those of you, or wasn't mentioned, one of my dearest friends has a child with autism, so I've seen her life through his experiences for the last 20 years. And as part of that, her role in the work that she does as a mom and as a caregiver also served on the board for Pathfinders for Autism. So I knew when I took this job it was a priority, and I reached out to Laura Howell on day one that I was announced to say, it's a priority moving forward, and I'm here to be a partner with you and the rest of the DD Coalition. I see the mission coming to life when I hear about people self-directing their care, children developing skills to build friendships, transitioning youth deciding what they want to be when they grow up, and adults successfully working at their dream jobs and contributing to their communities. You've heard from Governor Moore and his commitment to the advancement of all Marylanders and ensuring equitable outcomes for all. And we want to make sure that no one is left behind. And I know that I can count on all of you to be partners as we continue to expand on and build and fix, if needed, on our patient-centered practices. Clearly, the department can't do this work in isolation. It takes determined people with disabilities, engaged families, committed providers, resource-rich coordinators of community services, and passionate advocates, as all of you have been and the DD Coalition has been. I've only been here for 4+ weeks, and I already, by the number of outreaches and emails and from constituents and organizations, know not only the work that's been done, but the work that remains to be seen. And I look forward to the collaborative approach as the right direction in making a difference every single day. So thank you here. As was already mentioned, I'm the Secretary of Health, but really think of me as an ally in the work that we have to do ahead. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure to introduce Deputy Secretary Bernard Simons. He's been with us with DDA since 2014, and he's served people with developmental disabilities for over 30 years. Thank you for all your service, and we're happy to have you with us today.
Well, I guess the good news is I'm not speaking as the last person between you and lunch, right? Because that's always not a real good deal. So I want to thank the DD Coalition and, you know, all of the hard work you do. I mean, I think as Secretary Beatty said earlier, this really takes a lot of work and a lot of planning, a lot of time, a lot of organization. And you know, I've been here since 2014 and have attended all, even the virtual, that we've done. So it's great to be back here and to be in person and see folks that we haven't seen in a period of time, our acquaintances, etc. I want to thank the governor, obviously, and the Miller administration was great. I think we had some great people from the Senate and the House speaking and addressing and have really grasped the issues of people with developmental disabilities and, you know, being able to move forward with the way we do things. And as I want to thank Dr. Laura Herrera Scott, our new secretary, who I had the honor of working with her when she was the Deputy Secretary for Public Health in the previous administration. And so, no, 2 administrations back, I guess it was. And so, you know, it's great that, you know, we all are concerned with creating a flexible, person-centered, because it's, at the end of the day, it's all about people having control of their own lives and what they do and how they move forward in making their own decisions. It's not about raising your hand and saying, can I do this? No, it's all about independence. It's all about self-regulation. It's all about feeling creative and feeling fulfilled and living your dream. And so we need to continue. So, and we need to continue to do that. I mean, as our Secretary in Health basically just said, people are self-directing, and we've seen a growth in self-direction, where people say, I don't need to be dependent on a provider, or I don't want to try traditional services. I want to see if I can do this as independently as I can. And it's great, and I know Laura Howe's coming up to talk about the budget, because that's what the agenda says next. And so, you know, we've been very fortunate in the Developmental Disabilities Administration in the last years to have a real good budget every year. I mean, we've had people coming off the waiting list, we've had transition in youth, we've had emergency services, many things, and we've had rate providers for the rate. So that, you know, it's not just about the rate, it's about getting a rate so that, you know, that can be passed on to the direct support professionals. And so obviously we know that there's been a couple of studies done the last few years about workforce crisis, et cetera. But, you know, if we can get out there and get more money into the system and attract people and hopefully cut down on the turnover, but not just cut down on the turnover, attract people to come into what we do and what we believe all of the time. So with that, have a great day, have a good engagement with, when you get over to the Capitol, to the rooms for the Senate and the House and who you're going to visit. So again, thank you for inviting me, and I enjoyed being here.
All right. I feel like y'all have been sitting here listening to a lot of people speak, and you're probably like, oh my gosh, is it ever going to end? I mean, it was so exciting, but we need, the last part of what we need to do is to give you a little information so that you are armed and ready, armed metaphorically, and ready to to go meet with your legislators and to talk about the issues that are so important. You heard from all of our champions, and there are many more, but they're champions because of your advocacy, our collective advocacy. So please hang in with us a little bit longer. We're going to share some important issues and then send you off to go do what you do best. So we're going to talk about the DDA budget. You've heard about it a little bit throughout the morning, and I'm going to hold this up, but it's a white sheet that has a DD Coalition logo at the top, and it's just one side. It's very colorful, and that has the information on it about the budget, and especially if you're visiting someone who's a member of either the Budget and Taxation Committee in the Senate or the Appropriations Committee in the House, you definitely want to ask for their support for these budget items. So we're going to talk about, just for a minute or two, the DDA budget for FY24, which is the governor's budget that he introduced. So there are kind of two parts. There's expansion, so new people getting to get the supports and services that they need, and then funding for rates and the kind of the infrastructure so that everyone can have better and stronger supports and services. So on the expansion side, new people coming in and getting the supports they need. The first thing listed is transitioning youth. This governor fully funded the Transitioning Youth Initiative, and that is the funding for people as they come out of secondary education and move into the adult supports and services side of things. And there is $11.4 million in the budget, and that fully funds between 500 and 600 transitioning youth. So that's a great thing to keep in the budget. The next part of the expansion is funding for the DDA waiting list. You've heard about the waiting list throughout the morning. When you look at kind of two pots of money and you put them together, you have about $11.6 million for more people in the waiting list, particularly those in crisis categories who really, really need supports to get those supports. So we want the legislature to support that funding. There is almost $1 million in the budget for emergencies. These are folks who are oftentimes unknown to DDA. They're not on the waiting list, and they have an immediate emergency and absolutely need services right then. And so there's money in the budget for, I think it's about between 30 and 35 people for that year. Okay, so that's all the expansion. The other part is funding for services, community providers, people who self-direct. And there are two items in that category. The really big one, $117 million, expansion, rate funding like we've never seen before. And that is a 12% rate increase. That is tied to the minimum wage and speeding up the minimum wage. The governor has put in a bill that would accelerate or speed up when the minimum wage reaches $15 an hour, and the governor did not leave us behind. And when he knew he wanted to do that, it's a priority. He also knew he needed to fund our supports, and so he included a 12% rate increase. So really fantastic. Yep. And the last item I'm going to mention also goes into rates. The Developmental Disabilities Administration has been going through a rate setting process to try and kind of look at all of the rates for supports and services, and really figure out what the rate, how those services should be paid and at what level they should be paid. And so the governor included, in addition to the $117 million, another $20 million to help the state move forward with those new rates and rate setting process. So that's kind of the budget in a nutshell for the Developmental Disabilities Administration and all the growth. There are budget hearings. It's a busy week today in the House of Delegates and tomorrow in the Senate. You can either come in person this afternoon if you want to, or you can watch online on the General Assembly website. So that's it for the budget. Please go advocate. And I am going to introduce, thank you, we have a great teamwork here. We have a video from Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick. She is the new chair of the Health and Government Operations Committee. That's the primary committee in the House that looks at policy for around healthcare and developmental disability issues. And so she couldn't be with us today, and she wanted to send a video. So we're going to hear from her now.
Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. It is an honor to be here with you on the Developmental Disability Day. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you. My name is Jocelyn Pena-Melnick, and I am the chairman of the Health and Government Operations Committee, where a lot of the bills are heard. The mission of the Developmental Disability Coalition is to create change to make it possible for people with developmental disability to live the lives they want with the support they need. I have been an avid supporter of this community, sponsoring pieces of legislation that allow people to live the life they choose. I am committed to an important bill that I sponsored last year with Senator Zucker, the End the Wait Act. This year, I remain committed to ensuring this important piece of legislation operates the way it is intended by making adjustments to the original bill. This includes ensuring that the allocated funds go towards hiring and retaining providers. Together, we represent the true power of unity and what we can accomplish with working alongside one another. Your lived experiences and knowledge guide our work and helps us pass legislation that transforms lives. Advocates help amplify voices to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table. In our committee, you matter. Your voice matters, and you make a difference, and we listen, and we work with you. I believe that every Marylander with disability have rights, and they should have representation and resources and the ability to make decisions for their own lives. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate the work that you all do, and you're always welcome in the Health and Government Operations Committee.
Well, we're sorry she couldn't be here, but that was a lovely message. We are almost done. We want to review some priority legislation with you. So I'm going to ask my colleagues, Randy Ames from Disability Rights Maryland, Andy Culp from the ARC Maryland, Tracy Paleth from MAX, to join us to kick us off.
Okay, hello again. I'm Andy Culp and Randy Ames. So this will be a buff colored sheet or cream colored sheet in your folder. And we're going to review legislation that affects people with disabilities and their families. So I'm going to kick us off. House Bill 354, Senate Bill 343. Senator Craig Zucker already talked about this, so I'll be very brief. It's a kind of a cleanup bill to make sure that the Maryland ABLE Act matches changes that have happened on the federal level. And so what this bill would do would be to change the age limit by increasing the age limit for when people can set up ABLE accounts from 26 years old to 46 years old. So making people that acquire their disability later in life have the eligibility to open an ABLE account. The other change would be expanding the list of people that can help somebody set up their ABLE account. And again, that is also in alignment with the federal changes of law. Randy.
Good morning, everyone. So as the video touched on last session, the End the Wait Act was passed. So I'd like to start by giving everyone a round of applause for the fact that this important piece of legislation was done during virtual and hybrid and COVID and everything else. So can we give everyone a hand for all of their advocacy last year? And so we've seen too many families waiting almost
wait earlier than the original legislation in 2019 called for the minimum wage to go up to $15 an hour. In order to be able to afford this spending on the minimum wage increases, the Fair Wage Act of 2023 gives a rate increase of 4% for 2024, 4% for 2025, and 4% for 2026. But it does it all in 1 year, so that there's a 12% increase in 2024 for the minimum wage, so that we can pass that money along. This is to recruit and retain the staff who help people live, work, and participate in their communities. The bill also includes an increase for the minimum wage in the future anytime inflation goes up. The increase in the minimum wage would be tied to inflation from the prior year, up to 5% annually. We all know about inflation and how it's made prices go up on things like groceries and gas over this past year. However, nothing in this bill would give the DD community an increase in funds to stay ahead of the minimum wage when inflation goes up. Therefore, this bill needs an amendment that would provide future rate increases to the IDD community anytime the minimum wage goes up because of inflation. So that's an amendment that we're asking for to the Fair Wage Act of 2023. In this room, we all know DSP turnover is high and that 1 in 3 direct support staff don't stay in their jobs for 6 months and over half don't stay a year. Why do these DSPs leave? Because they can make more money working in retail or for other private employers. It is essential to the health, safety, and well-being of people with disabilities that we keep our DSPs. So please, when you meet with your elected officials later today or on another date, ask them to support the Fair Wage Act of 2023 with an amendment to add a rate increase for the developmental disability services, also tied to inflation, as referenced on your yellow briefing sheet. Thank you.
Y'all hanging in there? All right, got one more for you. The green one. You've actually heard a lot about these. Delegate Guyton talked a lot about them, so I am just going to go over a few. The first one being House Bill 294. This is not new. This is a bill that we've seen many times before that would require school systems to bear the burden of proof in special education due process hearings. Right now, whoever files the case, generally families, have to prove that a school system has not provided a child with a free, appropriate public education. This bill, as amended by the sponsor, who we worked very closely with, would shift that burden of proof for all cases, no matter who files the case first and no matter what the case is about. The other one I want to talk about, still on the front side, is House Bill 770. This is a bill that really is a technical correction to some of the funding in the blueprint. You heard the governor talk about the blueprint. That's that huge bill that passed a couple years ago that changed policy around education in the state and provided a lot of money, and the governor provided even more money. One of the intentions of that bill was to make sure that young children who are eligible for preschool, so preschool-age children with disabilities, would be able to go to public pre-K regardless of their family's income. So right now, public pre-K is available dependent on the family's income. The intention was to make sure kids with disabilities were included, like state and federal law requires, So this bill is a technical correction to the definition to make sure that that happens. And actually, the bill hearing is today. And then there's just one more I really want to highlight. That's House Bill 1237. It's the last one on the back side of the green page. Again, not new. Something we've seen before. And this would allow parents in those due process cases, the special ed cases, to recover expert witness costs if they win in their case. So right now, the IDEA, the federal special education law, allows parents to win to get the money back for their attorneys, but it doesn't address expert fees. And, you know, they're expensive. And they are something that often school systems have already. So this bill, sponsored by our Delegate Kaufman, who you heard from before, really makes sense. And we hopefully will have a hearing date soon. Those are all of the education-related bills. So now I get to turn it over to Matt. Maybe. Do we have him? Oh, I found it. It was hidden. Sorry. Who is going to finish up the morning for us.
Well, here we are again. Another Developmental Disabilities Day. Another year full of possibilities for the future. We've heard from our elected officials. We've heard from Governor Westmore and his new administration. We've heard about issues that affect the DDA budget, individuals and families in transition, education, and so much more. All of these things make me think about three key concepts: creating change, unlocking opportunity, and improving lives. When a DSP is able to make a fair wage and continue doing the job that they love, their lives are improved, as are the lives of the people that they're working for. When we come together like this in Annapolis, not just today, but throughout the year and throughout the session, we are improving lives and unlocking opportunity. When you raise your voice, you create change, which therefore unlocks more opportunity and improves more lives. So, what do we want to do today? Say it with me. Create change, unlock opportunity, improve lives. 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 Or in the governor's much simpler turn of phrase, leave no one behind. So, when you go over to the House and Senate, you make it clear to your legislators, whether that's in person or virtual, not just today, but throughout the week, that you expect them to help you create change, unlock opportunity, and improve lives. Please don't forget the hashtag Developmental Disabilities Day 2023, and you've been a magnificent audience. Thank you so very much.